Ever faced a challenge that felt impossible? What gave you the strength to keep going?
Welcome to a podcast inspired by the YouTube channel ClimbUp Podcast, where we explore topics on personal growth and finding meaning in life. Today, we're diving deep into a really powerful collection of motivational speeches shared by our listener. These sources, they offer this raw, almost urgent take on pushing through challenges, reframing pain, and just the sheer power of refusing to quit.
Absolutely. And our mission for this deep dive really is to get past the surface hype. You know, we want to pull out the actionable stuff, understand the mechanics they're suggesting for, like navigating adversity, turning setbacks around.
Yeah, and tapping into those reserves you didn't even know you had for personal growth, right? And reaching your potential.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The foundation, the message running through all these sources, it's this incredibly intense insistence on not quitting.
It really is. It's not gentle. It's framed like an absolute must.
And right from the start, they hit you with this core question. What would it actually cost you if you quit right now?
What's the price if you stop fighting?
And that question, it lands hard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because let's be real, we all have those moments.
Oh, totally. Times you just want to throw in the towel. You can't see the end game. The target's blurry.
Exactly. But the message isn't that you won't feel like quitting. It's that when that feeling comes,
you got to override it. It's that constant drumbeat. You got to go again.
leave every excuse behind.
Yeah, you can't quit because, and they repeat this a lot, you got more left in you.
It's about taking on that identity. You are not a quitter.
And they draw this really sharp line, don't they, between winners and what they call the one-of-us.
Yeah, what separates them.
Simply refusing to quit,
Right.
refusing to put down the gloves.
Which drives them to try harder, reach higher, run faster, stand taller. It's relentless.
But what's interesting is how quickly they bring pain into it. They know you might feel broken, weary.
Devastated, even during the process.
Right. But then, boom, comes the promise. That pain will not last forever.
It's temporary. That's key.
Which links straight to the idea of the long-term payoff. This belief that, in the end, it would be worth it.
That struggle now is like an investment. And someday you look back and think,
I'm so glad I didn't quit. Yeah.
there's also this real sense of urgency, tied to purpose.
Wake up in this new day. Seize the opportunity.
Because you are alive for a reason. It's about finding value right now.
And they tackle the outside voices too, the doubters.
Yeah, they acknowledge that enough people who have not believed in you.
So the message becomes, don't let anybody tell you you don't have what it takes.
It boils down to this personal choice, doesn't it? Claim your moment. It's your time.
You've doubted yourself long enough. And that internal shift, persuading yourself.
That's the catalyst. The more that you influence you will influence the world. Starts inside.
But this whole don't quit thing, it happens right alongside the reality of, well, setbacks.
Right. The sources are super clear on that. Life involves setbacks.
They put it so bluntly. Everybody wants a comeback, but nobody wants a setback.
Yeah. But the truth they push is,
you can't have a comeback without a setback. They're not glitches. They're like necessary steps.
and that's where this idea of the inner warrior comes from, right?
Exactly. Not born in comfort. This warrior is birthed out of a setback, defined by someone who just refuses to lose.
Even acknowledging that life throws loss at you, seasons you don't understand.
The fight isn't just one round, it's continuous, coming back round after round after round.
Even after taking a beating.
As long as you're not broken mentally, the mind has to stay in it.
I like that analogy they used about the process, going back into the dark room.
Yeah, that hidden work, the discipline, the practice, putting in the effort where no one sees.
And only then do you come back out into the light to put on a show, basically, to perform.
It really forces a choice after things get tough. You were either going back or you were going forward.
And a big reason for not winning. They say it's often just.
Because you gave up too soon. Simple as that sometimes.
Which connects right to the biggest battleground they identify, your own brain.
Oh yeah. The most powerful thing in the world, they call it, works for you or against you.
And those two internal voices they described.
The easy one, the comfortable one, just wanting safety now.
Versus the voice of truth.
Right. The one saying you've got way more potential, maybe 80% more that we're not tapping into.
Where is that 80%?
In the hard places. Suffering, pain, failure, self-doubt. The darkness before the light, basically.
And we usually listen to the comfy voice.
Yeah.
Because going into that 80%, it hurts.
Which is why they contrast the trying mentality, I'm going to try, with
I will mentality. I will smile. I will make it a good day. I will win again.
yeah. And they argue that will isn't just positive thinking. It's like a commitment. It actively builds bridges to your future, shapes your legacy.
It's a declaration that changes things internally first.
So if the battle is internal about which voice wins, then perspective on the challenges becomes, well, everything.
Huge theme. Absolutely massive. It's not a factor, it's the factor. How you see things dictates everything.
Everything rises and falls on your perspective. That's a direct quote, isn't it?
It is. And while, yeah, you cannot change the past,
You absolutely can change how you see it, your perspective about it. That's where the power is.
so a problem isn't just an issue. Shift perspective, and it's an opportunity.
They give such strong examples. Job loss, divorce, bankruptcy.
Lost relationship.
These aren't just bad things, they're potential turning points. Fired. Maybe that's your chance for entrepreneurship.
Breakup opens the door for someone new, someone better aligned.
And that analogy they use, it's stark. Your viewpoint is either your advantage or your assassin.
Wow. It'll either get you going or get you killed. Metaphorically speaking, of course, about your potential.
It really shows how two people can look at the same storm, you know?
One sees depression, gloom.
The other sees necessary rain for growth. For the grass, the roses, same event, totally different internal result.
And a key part of this perspective shift is ditching should for must.
Right. I should do something. Leads to being bankrupt, as they put it. You don't get what you should do.
You get what you must have. I must work out. I must forgive. I must evolve. Becomes non-negotiable.
Perspective is also tied tightly to gratitude in these talks.
Finding gratitude even when things are tough helps you see the bigger picture, doesn't it?
Totally. Reminds you somebody else would kill to walk a mile in the pair that you wear.
Or die to be in your position
Yeah.
while maybe you're complaining about what you have. Puts things in perspective.
So the trial, the adversity, the giant, it's not your assassin.
It's your opportunity. That shift changes everything. Makes the impossible seem possible. Reduces the weight of problems.
And it's not just internal. They argue perspective shapes your actual words. Perspective actually shapes your language.
And your language shapes your world. To live that vision in your head, you need to think right, talk right.
Which starts with seeing right. It all connects.
Okay, so alongside changing perspective on challenges, there's changing perspective on pain itself.
Yes, they are so direct about this. Pain is inevitable and it is unavoidable.
You just cannot live without pain, period.
But the crucial pivot isn't how do I avoid it, it's
If you use your pain. Can it be your friend sometimes?
use it to your advantage. See it as a stage, a plane, an opportunity, not just a roadblock.
They suggest it actually pushes you, conditions you, gets you ready.
Yeah, for the stages and the rooms you got to walk into and the tables you've got to sit at, it's training.
Which leads to those really powerful reframing questions like, what if the pain can make you better?
What if the pain could build muscle? What if all pain isn't hurt but it's help?
Because maybe, just maybe, you wouldn't pray the same way or love the same way.
If you hadn't known hurt or known hate, the pain teaches you things. It deepens you.
Like the musician having to play pain when it comes up.
Or when life throws you a weight, you don't complain, you lift it. That mindset shift again.
I'm not complaining because life got heavier. I'm celebrating because I'm getting stronger. That's a powerful reframe.
And a really key point.
Right.
If you can feel pain, you're not paralyzed. You have agency.
Right. If you can feel it, you can move it. The feeling itself is proof you can act.
And the goal isn't just to grit your teeth through it, it's converting it. Converting pain into fuel.
Specifically, not for revenge, but for fulfillment.
Yeah, they really emphasize that internal dialogue. Convert the pain into fuel, not payback. Because
Payback is for punks.
strong words.
It's about becoming better through it all, more life-giving, even wanting those who hurt you to win.
Coming back from being knocked down specifically to help others. That's a powerful cycle breaker.
It's leaning into discomfort, knowing it's temporary, and letting that pain lift you, remind you you're alive, push you past limits.
So, okay, we've got resilience, perspective, using pain. But none of it matters without the actual doing, right? The discipline.
Exactly. It all leads there. You have to act. It's not just thinking or feeling differently. It means consistently putting the work in.
Yeah, beating on your craft, giving it everything you have, really giving yourself to your work. The grind.
And they promise that when you commit to that, when you consistently refuse to quit and do the work,
things begin to shift and change. It's that steady, cumulative effect of just marching forward.
staying the course, deciding to try it again.
I found that concept of having unfinished business really compelling.
Me too. That call to go back where you left off with a new perspective.
Go back to the gym, the drawing board, the business.
The relationship, the burning building of the challenge, you got work to do.
And they really call out the gap between thinking you're trying hard and actually trying hard.
That anecdote about the speaker at 297 pounds thinking he was giving 100%.
Right. Working a low-wage job, genuinely believing that was his max, then years later, after intense training,
He realized how much more was in him. That 80%, he had no idea until he really started pushing.
which underlines their point. You often have no idea what's really inside until you start really trying hard, until you get obsessed.
And the sign you're pushing. The new norm is that, wow, this isn't always fun.
Exactly. Discomfort is the signal. Toughness gets built in those uncomfortable environments.
So this discipline, it comes down to what they call a primitive mindset.
Yeah, not primitive bad, but primal, non-negotiable. A just have to do it approach.
Just bypassing the mind that wants comfort.
Yeah.
Like breathing, you just do the action.
When that alarm clock goes off,
Yeah.
your mind says no. You just say, it's just what we do. Automatic, non-negotiable execution.
And that's how you overcome the mental pain of doing stuff you don't want to do.
Which is, ironically, the only way to get where you do want to go.
So pulling it all together now, the not quitting, the setbacks, the perspective, the pain is fuel, the discipline, it all points towards the outcome.
Strength, victory, legacy, they connect the effort directly to the reward.
They say after suffering, there is a reward, that the work closes the gap between pain and promise.
And that gap is closing. With every bit of effort, even when you feel empty, they insist.
You have more in you. Quarter tank, half tank, maybe 3/4 you haven't found yet.
So the pain during the work, the gym, the practice, the project, it's not a sign something's wrong.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
Part of the process. Even if it feels, daunting or cumbersome.
And this perseverance, it directly builds confidence. Like the speaker said, the more I do this, put myself in the battle, the more I gain confidence.
And victory isn't always about beating others. Sometimes it's just about
Putting yourself in the battle, going to war with myself every day, setting challenges and meeting them.
like the speaker whose victory was just finishing the tough training. That was his win.
Confidence gets built brick by brick, right? Lose 5 pounds, then you believe you can lose 10, then 50. Small wins fuel bigger belief.
And the tools, the knowledge you need, they often appear because you put yourself in that tough spot.
Yes. You learn by doing, by facing the challenge head on.
And that question they want you to ask yourself,
Yep.
that's the challenge.
Is this all you got? Ask the dumbbell. Ask the trouble. Ask yourself. Defiance.
Ultimately, all this pain, all this effort, it's presented as the very thing that shapes you.
Builds you into the person you're destined to be. Wiser, conditioned, seeing differently.
Operating from abundance, built through overcoming scarcity.
And the end game isn't just personal gain, it's legacy, impact, being life-giving.
Even wanting everyone to win, including those who cause pain, using it all for fulfillment, not payback.
Wow. Okay, so drawing all those threads together from these sources, it's a demanding picture, but ultimately really empowering.
Yeah, it's built on that absolute refusal to quit, seeing setbacks as essential steps, not failures,
Using perspective as this master tool to turn problems into opportunities.
and understanding pain not as the enemy, but as fuel, as a conditioner for growth,
All anchored by that non-negotiable discipline of doing the work, especially when it's hard.
and navigating all that, embracing the struggle.
Yeah.
That's framed as totally central to real growth, to reaching your potential.
Absolutely.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. These sources strongly suggest the biggest hurdle isn't always the external thing.
Right. It's the internal work. Changing your perspective. Choosing to see opportunity where maybe right now you only see pain.
So the question is, what specific area in your life, maybe a setback you're facing, a challenge that feels heavy right now, could truly benefit from that deliberate shift?
Actively choosing to see that pain, that difficulty, not as your assassin, but as your fuel for growth.
Something to mull over as you navigate your own path.
Definitely food for thought.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.